18th. The Pledge of Allegiance and invocation, if he chooses, will be by Councilman Henderson.
Would you please stand and join me in the pledge of the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So after the presentation and the decisions that we have to make in the coming future, I have chosen a verse in Proverbs chapter 2, verse 6 that talks about wisdom. For the Lord gives wisdom, out of his mouth comes knowledge and understanding. And that's something that we all certainly need today is wisdom. So would you bow with me in prayer? God, we look to you, from you comes wisdom. And tonight we just need your wisdom to make the decisions for the future of the citizens of Chattanooga. Help us to understand and do what is in the best interest of the people. In your name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Councilman. We have no special presentations this evening. I will take a motion on our minutes. I have a motion to approve the minutes. Without objection, the minutes will stand. Ordinances on final reading under economic development. Madam Clerk, item A.
An ordinance to amend the Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 9, Division 1, Sections 9.2, 9.4, 9.5, and 9.6 relative to the Public Art Commission.
Item A has been read into the record. Have a motion to approve. Do you hear a second? Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Under finance, Madam Clerk, item B, please.
An ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 31, Sewers, Main, and Drainage, Article 8, Stormwater Management, Division 7, Fees by deleting Section 31-358 relating to elderly, low-income, or disabled homeowner exemption from fees, which is not currently authorized under Tennessee law.
Dr. Burrs. I have a motion to approve. I do have a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Madam Clerk, under planning, items on final reading, items C through M, without objection, we will take as a package. If you would read items C through M.
Item C, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to amend condition number 1 from ordinance number 13475, a previous case number 2019-0045, on part of an unplatted and unaddressed property on French Road. Item D, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 5117 Gooden Lane, 1326 Mayfield Lane, and an unaddressed property in the 1400 block of Gad Road from R1 residential zone to R3 residential zone, subject to certain conditions. Item E, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone property located at 1302 Gad Road from R2 residential zone to R3 MD moderate density zone, subject to certain conditions. Item F, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 1248, 1259, and 1281 Lester Lane from R2 residential zone and C5 neighborhood commercial zone with conditions to C2 convenience commercial zone, subject to certain conditions. Item G, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 1413 North Concord Road and 6906, 6931, 6957, and 2 unaddressed parcels in the 6900 block of Concord Circle from R1 residential zone, R3 residential zone, and R4 special zone with conditions to C2 convenience commercial zone, subject to certain conditions. Item H, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 7548 and 7554 Eagle Gap Road from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone and R1 residential zone, subject to certain conditions. Item I, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 1820 and 1830 Gray Road from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone, subject to certain conditions. Item J, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38, zoning ordinance, so as to rezone properties located at 2000 Gun Barrel Road and 7555 Goodwin Road from O1 office zone to R1 residential zone, R3 residential zone, and R4 special zone, subject to certain conditions. Item K, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1558 Vance Road from R2 residential zone and C2 convenience commercial zone with conditions to R3 residential zone, subject to certain conditions. Item L, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1126 East 8th Street from URD2 urban residential detached zone to URA3 urban residential attached zone. Item M, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to lift condition number 2 from ordinance number 13744 or previous case number 2021-0162 from 2101 South Watkins Street.
Madam Clerk? Thank you. Councilwoman Coonrod, followed by Councilman Henderson.
Second.
I have a motion to approve with a proper second. Questions, comments before we vote on these items as a package? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Items on final reading do carry. Madam Clerk, you ready to start parks? Item N.
Item A, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 26, Section 2623, rental rates for municipal parks, all other municipal parks, subsection C, 1A, venue rates for Greenway Farm Park and Conference Center.
Councilman Hester. Have a motion to approve. Do hear a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. I'm going to just pause for a second. We seem to have a lot of commotion going on, and it's kind of distracting. Ordinances on first reading under planning. Item A, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone an unaddressed property in the 7500 block of Standiford Gap Road from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone, subject to certain conditions.
Is the applicant present? And is there any opposition present? Didn't expect there would be. We have a motion to defer that for another 2 weeks, but I'll need that officially.
Thank you, sir.
Councilman
Yes,
Smith?
Mr. Chair, this item is in your district, and it is my understanding that we would like this item deferred until August 2nd, please.
I do have a motion to defer to August 2nd. I do have a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? A deferral for 2 weeks on item A. Thank you, Councilman Smith. Madam Clerk, item B, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 1850 Newell Avenue from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone, subject to certain conditions.
Is the applicant present? I do have an applicant. Is there any opposition present? Councilwoman Knoll, I do not see opposition, and I do have an applicant. I have a motion to approve. I do hear a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Madam Clerk, item C, please.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone 2 unaddressed properties in the 300 block of North Highland Park Avenue from R3 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse zero lot line zone.
Is the applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Applicant, are you the applicant, sir? Okay, he is the applicant, okay. Is there any opposition present? Hang on one second. Is there any opposition present? I'm going to let Councilwoman Knoll. What is your desire? We do have a motion to approve. I do have a second. Questions, comments before we vote? Sir, we're about to move to approve this, if you're okay.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor say aye. Opposed? I appreciate you coming down and your enthusiasm, but under resolutions this evening, economic development, Madam Clerk, item A, please.
A resolution approving the economic impact plan for the North River Commerce Center Industrial Park Tax Increment Finance and Development Area, subject to certain conditions.
I have Councilman Smith, followed by Councilwoman Hill.
Move to approve.
I have a motion to approve and a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion. Item B, Madam Clerk.
A resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to award up to $40,000 to Habitat for Humanity of Greater Chattanooga area to construct a house at 227 Canary Circle for affordable home ownership.
Madam Vice Chair, I hear a motion to approve. I do hear a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Item carries. Madam Clerk, item C, please.
A resolution authorizing the mayor or his designee to award up to $40,000 to Habitat for Humanity of Greater Chattanooga area to construct a house at 3420 Kirkland Avenue for affordable home ownership.
Madam Vice Chair. I have a motion to approve. I do hear a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Madam Clerk, under Finance, item D, please.
A resolution to amend Resolution Number 28348, a resolution authorizing administrators and directors of the City of Chattanooga to apply for and, if awarded, accept grants under $25,000 to accept grants under $50,000 only if they do not require matching funds and do not place operational obligations on the city. And those grants awarded will be reported to the City Council not less than on a quarterly basis.
Dr. Burrs. I have a motion to approve. I do hear a second. Questions, comments before we vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed? Item carries. Purchases this evening. Mr. Goldberg, are you presenting? I believe we have 12 items and 2 emergency purchases to report.
Yes, sir. 12 purchases. First one is, excuse me, from the Street Maintenance Division of Public Works. It's a renewal of a contract for masonry materials for local pickup. It was approved by council on June 28th, 2022. Since this time, TT Wilson Company has received additional price increases from their supplier. We are requesting an increase of $5,250 for a new annual amount not to exceed $40,250. Next, from the Fleet Management Division, request to increase the amount for bulk fuel delivered to golf courses and the Birchwood landfill by $30,000. The increase is due to increased fuel prices, and the new annual amount through September 26, 2022 is not to exceed $160,000. The next 4 purchases are also from Fleet. These are only requests to extend contracts. No additional funds are being requested at this time. 2-month extension of the contract with CMI Equipment Sales for Peterson Knuckle Boom Loader OEM parts and service. 3-month extension of contract with Aaron's Auto Glass for auto glass replacement. 3-month extension of contract with Best One Tire for tires for small and light duty vehicles. 3-month extension of contract with Highland Tire and Auto for tires for small and light duty vehicles. The combined annual amount for these 4 contracts remains at $85,000. Next, also from Fleet, we have a request for a 3-month extension of the contract with East Ridge Fast Lube, also for tires for small and light duty vehicles. The request also includes an increase of $19,500 for a new annual amount not to exceed $169,500. Next, from Early Learning, we have a new blanket contract for floor stripping, floor waxing, and carpet cleaning. 3 bids were received. The award goes to CBS Management LLC. I don't think it's CBS. I think it's a typo. This will be a 4-year contract with the annual amount not to exceed $52,000. Next, from Technology Services, new blanket contract for purchase of software subscription for Watson DMV Incident Inquiry and Crash Reporting, including maintenance and support. This is a sole source procurement from Data Driven. This will be a 3-year agreement with an annual amount not to exceed $58,861.50. Next, from the Wastewater Division of Public Works, we have a request to increase blanket contract with Carbon Activated Corp for odor control filter media. The original estimate included a specific scope for filter changes. However, it has been determined that it is necessary to expand the scope and change additional filters for an increase of $400,000 and a new annual amount not to exceed $500,000. Next, from Transportation Division, we have a request to increase the contract with Tennessee Guardrail, Inc., the guardrail repair and installation. This is a request to increase the contract by $25,000 through October 2022. And finally, from finance, we have a new blanket contract with Urban League of Greater Chattanooga for economic and workforce development services in the Black community using the Urban League model, including access to proprietary tools and resources developed by Urban League. This is a sole source procurement. This will be a 4-year contract with an annual amount not to exceed $150,000.
Thank you, Mr. Goldberg. You've heard tonight's purchases. Have a motion to approve. And for those who's joining us not used to the purchasing process, we did receive these earlier in the week and had an opportunity to ask questions of staff. And again, at 3:30 this afternoon in a public meeting. I do have a motion to approve it. I have a second. And questions or comments on purchases for this evening? All in favor say aye. Opposed? Purchases are approved. Mr. Goldberg?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We also have 2 emergency purchases to report. On July 8th, 2022, the Department of Public Works initiated 2 emergency purchases to respond to storm damage at the 12th Street facility. Tri-State Roofing Contractors was contracted to repair approximately 7,420 square feet of roofing surface. The amount of the emergency purchase is not to exceed $100,000. Second, ServPro of Chattanooga was contracted for water extraction, drying, and cleanup services, including 7 days of dehumidifiers, blowers, desiccants, and a generator. The amount of the emergency purchase is not to exceed $90,000.
Thank you. Emergency purchases, just for note, do not require a council approval, just notification. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports. Councilwoman Coonrod, you want to hit your light? I know you've got a big report this afternoon.
Thank you, Chair. And Chair, also, before I begin to give my report, I want to give respect and reverence to my brothers and sisters of the Nation of Islam. Assalamu alaikum. And we had a report today. Jermaine, he talked about the stadium that's going to be over here, that's coming in on the south side of Chattanooga. So we're really excited about that. It was a continuation from last week. We also have a scheduled economic development for August the 16th, where we'll talk about workforce development. And just to let you all know that the Construction Career Center is scheduled to open October the 17th at the old Marion Garber site. And we're going to have an enrollment day for adults only at the All Good Coffee Shop Tuesday, July the 26th from 9:30 to 4 p.m. We're all excited about this trade school opening. And if you pass that information on so we can get people in the community registered, enrolled to attend. Thank you.
Thank you. And Councilwoman, thank you for your leadership this afternoon in committee. You had a great session and we gained a lot of information. We're able to ask a lot of important questions. Councilwoman Knoll, I believe we're working on something, you and I. We have 4 dates out there. We'll advise the council once we're solidified on those dates. Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate your patience. Dr. Burrs. All right. Councilman Henderson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next week, the 26th, we will have a Public Safety Committee meeting. Park is going to present their quarterly report, but I'm hoping to have some recommendations to the ordinance, to the park ordinance. And hopefully I'll have that to you in the next couple of days for you to review, and we'll present it at the Public Safety Committee on the 26th as well.
Very good. Thank you for your work on that. Councilwoman Hill? Councilman Smith? Councilman Hester? Madam Vice Chair?
The Equity and Community Development Committee will meet on Tuesday, August the 9th.
August 9th. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
We are now at the point in our meeting where recognitions of persons wishing to address the council. I'm assuming that we have a few wishing to address the council. So if you would, please begin to line up at the podium as best you can. And while we do that, Mr. Noblet, will you please read our rules for public comment?
Yes, sir. Based upon the rules of procedure the council has adopted, at the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public that wish to address the council. These are your rules. Each person wishing to address can only be recognized at the microphone provided up front. No person can have more than 3 minutes to speak. The speaker can address the council only upon matters within the legislative and quasi-judicial authority of the council, and not on matters that are not under the authority of council and are regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. Can't use any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others. You should address your comments to the council as a whole and not make comments directed towards individual council members. And anyone wishing to address the council can only do so once during the council day, either at this agenda session or a committee meeting or the council business meeting that we're in now. You can't have any disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law. And you commit that offense if you substantially obstruct or interfere with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, go right ahead, ma'am.
Ms. Mott, good evening.
Good.
I'm sorry, Councilman? Yes.
Sorry about that. Can I make a request? I can appreciate the lady wanting to be a support to those at the podium, but I think with the health concerns that we have with COVID right now, and I don't know if anybody, would feel crowded or not, but I would feel more comfortable if she would just give those at the podium a little bit more space than what she's presently doing.
Thank you, Councilman. Ms. Mott, thank you.
Mariemont District 8, Chairman and City Council, I stand before you today with community members in unison as we demand an immediate halt to the mayor's ARP plans, which I feel, and we often feel, are not in the best interest of the Black community. When NAACP and Unity Group members began to ask questions last year, the following, which were, what plans do you have to properly allocate the $40 million the city of Chattanooga has already received from the American Rescue Plans? How will you ensure these funds will be equitably distributed to the local Black community? How have the city council representatives engaged the underserved members of our community? What actions have you taken to gather data to assess the needs of our communities? If you have not begun this process, what is your timeline to get this accomplished? Since our original inquiries, there have been no public education or input sessions to properly inform the community or gain consensus on a plan based on our own needs. Before a proper process existed, this council was already voting to spend money. Let's be clear. Executive Order 13985 from President Joe Biden states this money is to advance racial equity and support for underserved communities. So imagine the frustration of seeing the same charities grab money, double dipping, and council members going as far to commit clear ethical violations. Imagine the anger of watching representatives award themselves or family members federal dollars should they vote or fail to resign from boards before accepting such funds. This is unacceptable, and the Black business owners, nonprofits, and community deserves better. We ask for a moratorium on this vote until such a time as we can ascertain the granting of these funds is in full compliance of the ARP guidelines and other legal statutes that may be applicable. And I will end with Dr. King. We have moved from an era of civil rights to an era of human rights, an era where we are called upon to raise certain basic questions about the whole of society. We have been reformed in a movement, but after Selma and voting rights bill, we must move into a new era, which must be an era of revolution. We must recognize that we can't solve our problem now until there is a radical redistribution of economic and political power. SCLC staff in a 1967 meeting with Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., who was a radical Christian and called for redistribution of wealth and power to the Black community in our society. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mott. On that note, real quick, today at 2:00, we did have an education session where council was able to ask questions on ARP funds. We got about a third of the way through it, and we have scheduled a special session starting to allow more time next Tuesday, right here in these chambers, starting at 10:30, and anyone is welcome to come and listen to that session. Yep. While we work. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Beatrice Craddock. I'm in District 8 at 1814 City Co Avenue. I have some property that's next to my house. It's 18, I think it's actually 1808. And I had the city code enforcement inspector, Randy McGee, to come out about a week or so ago, and about 2 weeks ago, and he informed me that this house was going to be demolished within a month, maybe 2 months, because it's infested. I'm like in the middle, and I'm getting rodents and all kinds of stuff, and it's asbestos in the house. They have already said that. Um, Now I see that the city is selling the house. It's going to go up for auction for $8,000. My issue is, I guess I want to know who is responsible for this property and who do I hold accountable for the rodents and the stuff that is interfering with my life.
Great. So I'm going to have you turn to your left and have Mr. Hudka. Will you raise your hand, please?
Yes.
If you could
Yes, sir.
meet with Mr. Hudka, who's over our Public Works Department, he
Mhm.
can give you the details and the answers you need.
Thank you so much, and I appreciate y'all listening
Yes,
to me. You
ma'am.
have
Thank
a
you.
blessed day.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
My name is Paul Middlebrooks. I'm the board chair for the Net Resource Foundation. I'm here to show support for the Net Resource Foundation and other urban programs and projects recommended for funding in the current American Rescue Plan proposal. I believe that it's important to invest in programs and projects that will enhance the quality of lives for all Chattanoogas, especially those in historically underutilized, underserved, underinvested communities. Time and time again, we have seen money go into and right out of the minority communities and leave no lasting impact. Time and time again, we have seen funds go into large nonprofits with little or no impact in the community because administrative costs outweigh funding actual programs. Mayor Kelly has taken a different approach to investing in these communities by bringing in smaller grassroots organizations that work day in and day out with boots on the ground in the community. This is one of the few times that a politician has done what he said he was going to do. The One Chattanooga plan makes clear the goal of ensuring every community has the opportunity to thrive, and we see that in the ARP strategy. I hope that the city council will support One Chattanooga. I hope the city council will support grassroots organizations that do the work only by making key investments in historically underserved, uninvested communities. We will be able to move the needle to truly become One Chattanooga. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Middlebrook, what was your district again?
District 6.
Thank you. Dr. Burns.
Good evening, Council. Joe Jenkins, District 8. I got a call today. I received a call today from a young man that I grew up with, and he is incarcerated. This young man has been up for parole, and he has been granted parole since February. This young man has nowhere to go, so they can't release him because he doesn't have a home plan. This young man also expressed to me as he was crying on the phone and told me that he almost got killed yesterday in his cell because of a TV by gang members and that whole thing going on. They wanted his TV. They took his TV. He has nowhere to go. Then I also have a guy that contacted me today, and he shared with me how since he has re-entered, that he is now in corporate America, or he's in corporate and he's in the medical field as a medical assistant. And he's doing wonderful. I watched this man, and he's with his children, doing great things with his grandchildren. So I'm able to see what re-entry has done for him. And so y'all probably like, where are you going? Where I'm going is that when I first came to city council, I shared that I got one lane that I stay in. and that lane is reentry. And the issue that I have with the whole ARP thing is that I seen nothing go towards reentry. This is not about the Brave effect. You don't have to get a Brave effect one thing, but for Chattanooga to have, in 2000 and last year, we had 1,064 people were in Hamilton County Jail System each day. We had 872 of our people from Hamilton County in federal prison. These people are coming back to the streets just like I did. And for over a year ago, I know that we were all on this reentry train. But however, when it came down the pipeline of this ARP, I see nothing going towards reentry. And we have great reentry organizations in Chattanooga outside of the Brave effect. So this is not about the Brave effect. We got them in Hamilton County Jail. I go out there. We got a whole reentry program downtown. We got Project Return. However, we're talking about we want to solve problems in Chattanooga with our streets and crimes and things like that and violence. It's starting to look like we really don't support that. Not to do away with it. Because if we wanted to support it, then we'll be doing something in that area. But however, my issue is that nothing was said or nothing was noticed or no funds went to any reentry organization. And I have an issue with that. At that point, my cage is rattled. Thank you.
Yep, go ahead.
Good afternoon, good evening. Oh, Councilwoman.
One second, if you don't mind. Hit your light, Dr. Burris.
The gentleman from District 6? The gentleman that just spoke from District 6?
Mr. Middlebrook.
Yeah, if you would please wait afterwards, I'd like to speak with you. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Thank you, sir, for waiting.
Absolutely. My name is Anthony Wiley, and I'm from District 6. I'm here tonight representing Dynamo Studios, which is a nonprofit in the city of Chattanooga, where we go throughout the city. We're currently partnering with Hamilton County Schools. We also have a partnership with the city of Chattanooga right now, where we give our students opportunity and access to different digital technologies, mainly videography, photography, and music production. I also serve as the director of mentorship for Dynamo Studios. And I just wanted to come and say that this investment into our youth can help curtail a lot of violence in the city. We all know how important art is and how important it is for humans, but more specifically, youth, to be able to articulate themselves and express themselves in constructive and positive ways. And with Dynamo Studios, whether it's through lyricism or teaching them music production, how to arrange a beat, how to cook up some music, or whether it's just capturing moments, we are allowing students an opportunity to be off the streets. But also we're giving them skills that can be transferred into entrepreneurial avenues for them. They all are making money right now outside of Dynamo Studios. We give them access to $1,000 equipment, cameras, computers, and we believe that when we give our students access to these things, and we're not talking about Chromebooks or little Kodak cameras. We're talking about the big things, the things that he's using up here, or MacBooks, Apple computers, and we're trusting them. We're telling them that we trust them and we believe in them. And the ARP funds, we know that it's no secret. Black Chattanooga has all investments. We can go around. Black communities are now being gentrified. So dollars into the Black community. I want to say approve the funding. Let's move towards one Chattanooga, but let's do it in ways that is equitable and that addresses all of the concerns and all of the social problems and social ills that the Black community face. And we can do that by listening to community members, working together with the council. And thank you.
Thank you, Anthony.
Y'all can clap.
I'm Brother Kevin Muhammad. Some of you know me well, some I may be a stranger to. But in 3 minutes, we cannot address the 30-plus years of work that we've done in this community. That'd be about 6 seconds for every year. We want to talk about 1990, Gene Roberts, John Kinsey, Bob Corker, Ron Littlefield, Andy Burke, and now Tim Kelly. We can start off with the city council that we've been serving in the community with S. Daniel Thomas and William Cotton, Maybelle Hurley. We can talk about all the programs that we've done all day and all night. But if the city council all of a sudden doesn't have the will to present the mayor's proposal of the ARP, we move backwards. It's no perfect plan. We heard Marie Mott, we heard everybody else in this audience talk. There is no perfect plan that anyone can present to this council that everyone will be pleased with. And we have heard the chatter, even from members of this council, with the proposal from the mayor to grant the community haven $1 million. We know about that. Do not allow what disagreements that you may have with the person of Kevin Muhammad stand in the way of the community benefiting from the work that the community haven does. We reform lives. We started out with nothing. We have been on the front line for 30-plus years. We have helped Hardy Elementary School turn around. We fought against police brutality, whether it's John Everett Henderson or Montrell Collins. We have established a beachhead in Alton Park where we helped to transform lives on Fagan Street and Doris where no one else will go. We have a program that we want to talk about violence reduction, but who's willing to actually put boots on the ground and go into the worst neighborhood and risk our lives to do that? The city council approved the mayor's budget of $350 million of expenditures. $145 million of those dollars went to public safety. The $1 million that he's talking about giving to the community haven is 0.006% of the budget that the public safety committee gets. $1 million is not adequate to properly address what's happening into our community, but it is a start. And we're willing to take that chance and let the mayor know it's not enough. But we're willing to partner with Chief Murphy. We're willing to partner with the mayor to make a difference in our community. Right. Don't vote no because of me. Vote yes because of the community. Thank you.
Evening, sir.
My name is Anthony Gladden, longtime Avondale resident, District 8. Business Kingship Chess Academy is located in District 8 on Bailey Avenue. Good evening, everyone. I would first like to thank the members of the council for your commitment to making the city of Chattanooga a better place. I feel like it's not only monumental, but it's life-changing that Mayor Kelly has chosen to invest in Black businesses, Black organizations. What I wanted to do was enlighten those who don't know about us and what we offer at Kingship Chess Group. Chess impacts the entire individual. My desire in founding the organization was to even the playing field. We have enough athletic organizations that don't pour into the child intellectually. So I chose that lane. To create a positive mindset, use a game of chess, to build self-confidence, heighten decision-making skills, and sharpen the cognitive motor skills of the brain. Chess ignites the motor functions of the brain. Most people don't understand the difference between fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence involves comprehension, reasoning, and problem solving, while crystallized intelligence involves recalling stored knowledge and past experiences. Our program has exceeded all expectations, and we look to continue an upward growth here in the city. One of our most cherished partnerships has been with the Urban League of Greater Chattanooga for the past 3 years. We've been in numerous elementary schools, and the data retrieved from all the schools has consistently shown that students gained increased focus, improved grades and behavior, and exhibited the ability to effectively communicate socially. Our organization has also partnered outside of with Morning Point assisted living facilities for the past 2 years. We will continue to do that work whether we have the money or not, as CHEST is used to help curb first stage dementia and Alzheimer's disease. Lastly, anyone wishing to find anything about our services or partake in our services, you can reach us at www.com. Thank you.
Thank you. Evening.
Hi, how are you?
Hi.
Okay, so I'm not really sure how this goes, but I'm just gonna speak my mind.
Oh, can you tell me your name and district, please?
Corey Bisher, I have no idea what district I live in. I live in East Brainerd. That's all I
Oh,
know.
well, that would be 4 or
4.
maybe 6.
Or 6. Okay. To be honest with you, it really doesn't matter because it does matter because East Brainerd is great, but that's not where my heart lies. My heart lies with where kids are that looks like my kid. So I have a couple of issues. One is the affordability of housing in this city. I'm not from here, so this is a major issue. There are so many people here that make $15,000, $16,000, $17,000 a year. That's $1,000, $1,200 a year. When you have $800 going towards a 1 or 2 bedroom apartment, how do you pay lights and water and food and insurance? This doesn't make any sense to me. So, and the other issue is, okay, that's a single person. I wasn't even thinking about somebody with kids. That's a whole nother issue. But the affordability housing that is claimed in the city is nowhere near affordable. Not for 60% of the people that are here. So my question is, how is it that the city council and whatever powers that are not allowing for tiny homes or container homes or other affordable means that we see in other cities completely work? This is disheartening. I was extremely lucky with the house that I have, but that's not the case for too many people. So one, I would like to see affordability on real numbers, not this, oh, they only make $40,000 a year. That's not most of the people in Chattanooga. So can we talk about real numbers and real affordability? That's one issue. And then 2, can we talk about doing something with the property that the city and the county owns all over this city? Because you guys tear down houses like it is nobody's business. And then the properties have to sit there for 4, 5, 6 years. Like this young lady, I know she's been having a time trying to get people to do something with that property. Can we do something with those properties so that we can get actual people off the streets, or so we can get people 3 seconds away from being homeless? That would be doing what we say we're trying to do. It's one thing to say we're trying to do affordable housing, we're trying to get people off the streets, but when all these policies and rules and regulations are exactly opposite of doing that, that's not conducive. So I'm just saying, please do what it is you guys say you want to do with the people that are trying to do it, like me. That's all.
Miss, if you, Chris or Joda, will you raise your hand? If you look to your left, Chris would like to talk to you, I think, about the tiny homes, number one, because I think the administration is actually in favor of that. And number 2, we recently passed an ADU ordinance, which helps to start address that. So I appreciate your comments very much. But if you would stay after and talk to Mr. Anderson. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Evening, City Council.
Evening, sir.
My name is Reginald Yerby. I'm the Executive Director and founder of Reach One, Teach One UCA. First of all, I want to say I'm very grateful and honored to even be considered for any piece of change. We are a grassroots boots on the ground. Don't ask me what district I'm in. I don't know. I keep my head down so I can continue to move. The most important thing is to reach these kids. If we're not here for them, then therefore we're not here for what we need to be here for. We have kids anywhere from 4 to 14. We're a year-round program. Consider us the boys club without the funding. We've been here since 2018. We've been getting it out the mud, literally. We partner with the city. We partner with various organizations. We have 4 or 5 big events a year, and we do it by the hope of God. And I usually don't get up here and speak. I speak to the kids, but I'm here to speak in honor of the kids. With funding, we can be able to reach more kids, give them more resources, and more things that can channel the kids and give them more resources to work with their hands and do more things. I really don't hear the noise because, like I said, I keep my head down. And I am reentry. That's my cousin Joe Jenkins. He does reentry. I am reentry. I'm a convicted felon, ex-drug dealer. So my story would touch a whole lot of kids different from anyone sitting up there. Not only is me, I have a whole team behind me that support everything that we do. That's all I got. Hopefully that we can be voted on and get the funding. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hey.
Evening, sir.
My name is Carl. I live in District 9, but I work throughout the districts. I was asked to come today to quickly talk about ARP. But as I decided not to do any notes and I listened to my community members and my friends, my colleagues, I'm also here to celebrate us. This is a rarity for us to have an opportunity to be heard with any type of significant dollar behind our backs. I know that for don't know, Chattanooga started out of my own pocket. Rise Chattanooga, $1.8 million since 2015. The hustle is real. The hustle is real, but I had to learn how to diversify my hustle. Never got a dollar, an official dollar from programming from the city. I'm blessed that you considered me, but the hustle will still continue. Not just from me, but from all of us. I think that how we're able to navigate through this next stage is to being allowed to have the stage. To be able to say to ourselves that we can be able to take a little bit of something and make something out of it, a little bit of nothing, as my grandmother would say, and bring something for that. We're listed for a kitchen incubator. So I want to dispel the myth about us in the kitchen incubator, or be very clear, is that that's one of the processes. The reason why we placed that down because we want to be a teaching kitchen. What the kitchen teacher is, let me put it in layman terms. It is for the community to learn how to use the access that they have to improve their lives to be healthy, period. We have so many individuals inside our community today that don't know the means of cooking, don't know how to use their EBT card to get healthy cooking, to be able to go back home to cook. That is some of our reality. That's not a black thing. That's an everybody thing. Because when you're poor, you're poor. Yeah, so hopefully that we will be able to take the knowledge that we have, take this incubator that we want to do, that's sitting on District 9. As I got 40 seconds. I look at it and I say to myself, as a founding member of Sankofa, as one of the few Black organizations that owns their own facility outright, that's not to be able to be smug. It's able to say, once again, it is a rarity. We have to celebrate us. As I sit in District 9, we went ahead and redid a 15,000 square foot church. That's not just for Rise, that's for us. It's opportunities. Allow us to help us. But through the tools that we can be able to provide, there's always something new out there. Let us teach you how we can teach others. Thank you.
Great.
Good evening.
Evening, sir.
So I'm the commander for the Senior City Heroes, American Legion Post 0291. We were chartered in 2018. So we've been out there about 4 or 5 years now. Excuse me. I stand before you now because I've been sitting and listening at the rest of the speakers, and I hear a theme of youth. The youth is important. What we bring to the table as the American Legion is we have youth programs. Primarily, we're there for veterans, but we do have youth programs. One such program is where we take kids and send them off to camp for about a week. And during that week, they learn city, state, local government. We put them in mock governments. They have elections, and they go through the whole thing of building a constitution. So that's one program. Baseball is another program. We have oratorical programs, all for kids. Right now, I'm a member of District 3, but as far as our base of operation, we don't have a district yet. We're still looking for a post home. So if any of you guys have property in your district, we would love to take a look at it, see if it's gonna fit our needs, if there's something for us there. But I just wanted to stand and say, we're here in the community. We're veterans first and their families, but that we branch off to the kids of the community. We plan on getting into the schools in this upcoming school year. We have programs established where we get in school and show them the 13 folds of the flag and what each fold means. We're going to get into, like I said, oratorical programs and other programs that we have for kids in high school. And we also have mentorship programs. So we're here in the community. We anywhere we're able to help out, we're willing to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Coonrod, I see your light. Did I miss you earlier? Is that an older light? Yes, ma'am. You're active. Good evening.
Hi, my name is Helene Halle. I am not part of any certain district. I live in Red Bank. However, my declaration is most informational to, I believe, Marvin Noel, and the chair of Education and
Ma'am,
Innovation
I
Committee.
apologize, but our rules, you're not supposed to direct.
Oh, sorry.
Directly.
Sorry.
I'm
Okay,
sorry.
the
I just
whole
wanted
council.
my apologies.
I work as a babysitter, which allows me to learn from and observe many families. None of the families I work for have their kids in a public school. One mom recently moved to Chattanooga told me, I heard a child talking about bringing a gun to school when touring my daughter's elementary school. She went on to explain that she would rather put her desires of getting a college degree on hold so she could pay for her children's private schooling. She, like many others, want the best for their children and are forced to look elsewhere when the city fails them with their education programs. Is the introduction of gun violence and unsuccessful graduation rates how we want to welcome residents to our city? One night, a friend of mine joked and said Chattanooga is legit turning into the ghetto. Now I'm wondering if that was ever a joke. Currently, statewide, we are experiencing a decrease of about 3% in public school enrollment. Chattanooga is nowhere on the list for Niche's top 15 school districts, and we are not in the top 10 of Tennessee cities regarding education, according to Clarkville.com. The Tennessean wrote, Tennessee spends nearly $4,000 below the national average of $15,114 per student and spends only 2.56% of its total GDP. I'm not an economics major, but I still get the feeling that those numbers aren't good, and these are recent reports. There was also the Tennessee Learning Loss Remediation and Student Acceleration Act, which required summer camps for grades 1st through 8th. We are forgetting a big portion of students here, the high schoolers. The ones who have started to understand the horrors of the world and are in the middle of some big life changes and decision making. High schoolers are at a maturity level where they can choose to do good or bad, take advantage of the opportunities for the positive, or give up. How come we don't have enough resources and support for these students during this stage of life? High school was my safe place, my haven when I was going through a rough time, but it has become something dreaded and even feared now. I would like to request a town hall and a brainstorm ideas to bring education to new levels like it's never been seen. We could say that COVID caused most of the teachers' resignations and enrollment decline, but it's time to come back to reality, take pride in our city, and educate the generations to come in and educate the generations to come in the most proper and high quality way possible.
Ms. Selena, you have a really unique opportunity as you have two school board members who are in this room right now, and I'm sure they would love to talk to you afterwards.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am, of course. Councilwoman Hill?
It's also important to know that the city of Chattanooga doesn't fund any of that public education. The county commission funds that as well as the state. So they will meet, the county commission meets tomorrow, I believe at 10 o'clock, 9:30. And the school board meets this Thursday night at 5:30, and they meet out on Hickory Valley. And there will be a public comment period in that meeting as well.
Thank you. Good evening.
Hi. For those of you that don't know me, which I'm talking to the audience because these guys know me, I've been coming here for a couple weeks now. My name is Kiana George. I am not technically a part of a district because I'm homeless. So when I come up and speak, I'm mostly speaking about the people that I go and see down every Wednesday, and those are the homeless people and the people that can't get themselves out of the situation that they're already in due to housing, as well as the police trying to get them to a different spot since it is now illegal to camp on public property. I appreciate addressing me. That's probably the first time that I think that any council member has actually addressed me. So this is me telling you that I'm not going to stop showing up because these are the members of my community and I believe in what they have to say. I don't need to repeat it because they've already said enough. But I do want you to know that when I stand here, I'm standing for not just myself. I'm standing for the members of my community that can't be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else wish to address council this evening? Council, I am seeing no one. I will take a motion. We have a motion to adjourn. Oh, before, I will undo that adjourn because I had you active. You could.
All right, thank you. I know y'all want to gavel me out a lot, but I think I've been acting my best behavior for a year now. But
I appreciate
it. I know you're gonna give me this one opportunity. But a lot has been said. But what has been concerning amongst the chatter is that every time, and I'm really appreciative that our Mayor Kelly, that he chose to make a decision to invest in Black community, Black organizations. We've not had that before, as many have stood before us and said. And what has just been really disturbing or rocked my boat is that no one said anything about the white organizations who does minimal in our communities. It was only focused on which Black organizations are receiving funds and why are those organizations receiving funds. But no one mentioned any of the others or what would be the impact of what they're doing. No one. We attack each other and we do it to ourselves every time. As Brother Kevin Muhammad stated, it's not perfect. No, everybody didn't get included in it, but the better way to address is how can we partner? How can we collaborate together? How can we move the needle of what's happening in our Black communities together? Nobody talked about that. Some was inclusive. Now, one thing that I know about reentry, because every day since 2008, I've been reentering. Today, I reentered. Each one of you all re-enter the moment you wake up and you put your feet on the ground. That's a re-entry moment. So it's not isolated to just think it's once somebody come outside of prison. As the young lady speak, every time she sit up, she's standing at the podium, she's re-entering and looking for housing. She's homeless. It's not just about prison. Your mind is re-entering. The way that we live is re-entering every single day. So I got a different perspective of it. To say that there is no re-entry programs funded, everybody that receives some money dealing with re-entry in some kind of way. We sleep on the Nation of Islam, but when you research them and check them out, they got the #1 violence deterrent program in the nation, in the world. Not just that, look at their reentry programs, the recidivism rate. We can go on and on and on. Now, I'm not a Muslim, but I'm supportive of everything that they do. Why? Because it impacts my community. Everybody here can benefit from them. We didn't just say today, let's give Kevin Muhammad some money. We been champion for that. Been champion for it. Corey and I, this with sitting here in the red shirt, we, for those that don't know, we're the ones who've been bringing NACA before NACA was even discovered. They even come to Chattanooga to make sure people have access to home ownership. I don't do that because I sit on council. I done it before I became council members. Here, we've been working with Chris Anderson. We finally got the ADU passed. We've been working and talking about these container homes and tiny homes. This didn't just start. We didn't go on Facebook and say, oh, we want to take whatever somebody is saying and finally apply it. We've been working on this stuff for years. I love when my constituents show up at city council. We're not perfect. You don't have to have a degree or none of that to serve on council. All you got to be is a caring member and connect with your community and serve. Everybody in that audience is leaders. I suggest you guys start working with your council people. You come up here, you bash us and you talk about us and you sometimes give out misinformation instead of getting the right information to pass on to the next person. Why we continue to be so far behind as Black people? The same stuff that you just saw. We beat us down even before we get a chance. We don't even feel like that we worthy enough to get the change, as Reginald Yerba just stated. We're not even willing to work with each other to help build our community. We finally got 4 people, Black representatives up here for our community, but guess what? Y'all beat us down so bad. And guess what? If Marie might get elected, it's only she ain't gonna jump in here and get everything checked off her list as she campaigning and telling her what all her followers believe. It ain't gonna happen like that. She gonna need some support and allyship. And I say that from experience because I had that same attitude when I first got elected. It's not attacking you, but I got the flow right now. And at the end of the day, like we're saying, well, you do it enough. We're not gonna go back and forth. But at the end of the day, is that it's gotta be a time where we gotta be supportive of each other. Anybody that live in District 9, if it's, we need to work together to move the needle in our communities, not just mine, but everybody else's district too. Everybody fighting for the same thing. Everybody want to thrive. But if we keep the conversation about how we gonna keep Black people with the poverty mindset, limited growth, and just to keep us in poverty, that's a problem. What we doing? And just for the record, since it's done been said on Facebook with the call outs and all of that, I know when I need to remove myself from a vote. Let's just be clear. Check my voting history since 2017. I'm not afraid to do that. And the members that's here on council, we do the same. So before you call yourself trying to check somebody, make sure you get the right information to check us with. That's all I'm asking. Brother Kevin Muhammad, I'm glad our mayor invested in you. When we talk about re-entry, you doing it and been doing it. Reginald Yerba, we had to beg him to apply for funding. That man been out here grinding and working with them kids since he exited the prison system. Those are people who we need to recognize because they out here doing it. The ones that's holding their head down, being silent and still doing it. Those are people who I want to work with. And not to mention, because I never once say that I'm not replaceable. The seat's supposed to be replaceable. So if anybody want to run for District 9, I welcome you to. I welcome you to. Because we got to make sure that wherever, as far as I can take the torch, I want you to lead it past what I can take you to. And that's what it's about. So that's all I got to say, Chairman. But in order for us to move forward,
I'm good.
we got to work together. Thank you.
Appreciate. Thank you, Councilwoman. I will adjourn this meeting at this point.